Hello, everybody, and welcome in to this special edition of All Andy Alfred right here on Clay Fan 2. 3. I am your host, Andy Alfred, welcoming you into this special edition. Yes, folks, the NHL is back. It is back and better than ever, as the owners and the players have come to an agreement splitting 50-50. And this show is the NHL preview show as we get you set up for this weekend's opening weekend and opening series in the NHL. We have a lot of games to cover. We got a lot of in-depth analysis to come from this show. And we'll be hearing my predictions of how the breakdown of this season is going to happen. But first, before I get into that, I want to say hi to all those out there who have supported me and supported everything that's been going on. I want to give a big shout out to the Bowling Green hockey team from Tuesday night as they upsetted the number 5 team in the country in the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, as they picked up the win 4-2. I was on the call. I was on color analysis with Chris Kernan. I want to thank the BGRSO so far this season for giving me the opportunity to do games, intermission reports, board opportunities. I want to thank our executive director, Cole Friery, and also to all the executive board members for giving me the opportunity so far. Now, and I want to also say this too, my father is in the hospital right now, so Dad, if you're watching this, I send all my love to you, and I hope you get out of the hospital soon, because we got a lot of hockey games to watch up pretty soon. But, of course, you know I am a Blue Jacket fan. I bleed the Union blue and red and white, and I am the only one here in the Toledo metro area that does do that, because it's Red Wing country here, folks. It is. Even though it's Ohio, and this is Ohio's team, it's just very interesting. But we're going to get into that, right? We're going to get into the NHL. First of all, we're going to break down the Eastern Conference for you. The Eastern Conference is looking very, very interesting this upcoming year. We'll start off in the division race. We'll start off in the Atlantic Division. You have New Jersey, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Flyers, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh looks really good this year, with returning of a healthy Sidney Crosby and a healthy Evgeny Malkin. You also have a Philly team that looks pretty good this year. They're really built to the core, but they have had some key injuries with Claude Giroux, and we'll see what happens as the Penguins and the Flyers play Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Also, you have the New York Rangers. Big off-season move picking up Rick Nash from the Columbus Blue Jackets. And also you have the Islanders, who are on an upstart, but as of next year they will be in Brooklyn, and they'll be called the Brooklyn Islanders, so it'll be very interesting to see that. But you gotta look at this division, and New Jersey looks very good. Then I'll give you my predictions on how they're gonna break down. In the Northeast Conference, you have Buffalo, Boston, Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. Now Toronto's been a late pusher as of late, with the firing of their GM. And they're trying to get a new GM before the season starts, but it's Toronto. Toronto's going to have a down year this year. Ottawa in the same rate, too. They don't have that much of a key offensive front. I look for Montreal to make a big splash this season. Also with Buffalo, too, with Ryan Miller between the pipes. Very good goaltender. 2 key offensive players for Buffalo to watch out for, too. And also, but you can't count out the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins look like a team that are just going to roll over in this division very easily. And then you look at the Southeastern Conference with the Carolina Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, the Washington Capitals, and the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Carolina, Florida, and Tampa Bay are teams that are going to be down towards the bottom. I don't really think that these 3 teams are going to do as much as Washington and Winnipeg. I look for the Winnipeg Jets to make a big move, make a big splash this season than the past 2 seasons since they came back since the move from Atlanta. It's going to be very interesting. Be very interesting to see how this season is going to relate. So with that in mind, let's break down the Eastern Conference standings for you, and here's my predictions for the Eastern Conference standings. In the East, I think it's going to be Pittsburgh to win the division. For the Pittsburgh to win out in the Atlantic Conference. I think Boston will win out in the Northeast Conference. And I have Washington winning in the South Conference. And that's your top 3. 4th place, I see the New York Rangers. With Rick Nash adding to the lineup, it's going to be key for them to put pucks in the net. You have Marian Gaborik, also really good player, a grinder of a player. I also have the Buffalo Sabres in there too at 5. 6 will be the Montreal Canadiens. I think the Canadiens have a solid core offense. 7th, I have the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg looks very good this year. They're going to look very dominant. And in 8th place, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers looking very good this year as well, too. I think New Jersey will get snubbed this year. Of course, Toronto will finish at the bottom. Right behind them will be Florida, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Ottawa as well. Now let's take a look at the Western Conference for you, and we'll get to the Blue Jackets last. Of course, we'll get to the Central Division last. In the Pacific Conference, you have Anaheim, Dallas, the Kings, the Coyotes, and the San Jose Sharks. Is Anaheim built? Is Anaheim built for a run? I really don't think so. They're struggling as of late. They look very sloppy as what I've seen so far in their training camp. Dallas doesn't look good enough, but the defending Stanley Cup champion LA Kings look just like how they were when the season finished. They look dominant, they look strong, they look ready to go. I think Jonathan Quick is awesome in between the pipes. Johnson from the Blue Jackets that was traded, I think it's a key asset for them. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Phoenix, they are always a counted-in team for the playoffs. I think they'll be a low seed in the playoffs this year. I think they're going to also have a bounce back year. But the team I think that's going to come out of that division with the win is the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks look very dominant this year. They look very good with Nabokov coming back in between the pipes. You got a good Joe Thornton, and you have a good offensive front and a great power play line that looks dominant. Now in the Northwest Conference, you have Calgary, Colorado, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Minnesota. Minnesota is a team I have picked already to win the West, to be in the Western Conference semifinals because of the pickups that they picked up in the offseason with Zach Parise. It's just too much not to pick them. But you also have to look at Calgary. Calgary picking up Yuri Hudler, a very good player formerly of the Detroit Red Wings. Very good player and a very good offensive player too. He's a grinder. He can get to the net where you need to. Edmonton's going to have a down year this year. We have a lot of questions with Vancouver right now. Vancouver with Roberto Luongo. Will he be traded? Will he be not? We'll see what happens. And also you have Colorado. Colorado looks very good too this year, but I don't think they're going to make it that far. We get to the Central Division. I'm giving my prediction of the Central. The Chicago Blackhawks look very, very like the team to beat in the Central. With Hossa, Taves, Kane, Niemi, and Ray Emery as the backup. Crawford as the starting goaltender, and Ray Emery your backup. You have a solid core. You have Duncan Keith that is awesome this year. I think they're the team to beat in the Central. Second team to beat out of that is the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues look like a club that they're gonna come up just a little bit short for the Central this year. I think that they're a club that is going to be very interesting to watch. Nashville at the same rate too. Nashville looks like a good club as well too. I think the big downfall this year will be the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings, with losing Tomas Holmstrom and Nicholas Lidstrom to retirement, and also a lot of question marks between the pipes with Jimmy Howard, it's going to be too much. Even though Henrik Zetterberg is your captain, you have Pavel Datsyuk as well too. I don't think that they're going to be a big splash. So for the division, I have Chicago, St. Louis, Columbus, Nashville, Detroit finishing up in the division, and the Blue Jackets. With the departure of Rick Nash, I think it's just more or less the lines that this is going to be a team that's going to be very interesting to watch. They'll have an NBC game. They'll have the first Monday NBC game of the week as they play the Detroit Red Wings at Nationwide Arena. This guy is going. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to play this season. You have RJ Youngberger be at 100%. Derek Brassard, will he be good as well too? Mark Mathot, Jared Bowl, you have these key assets to the Jackets lineup that's going to be very, very interesting. And also you have the difference between the pipes. Will Dabrowski be the starting goaltender, or will Steve Mason start the season off? There's a lot of question marks, and we'll get a lot of that question marks answered in the next coming days, especially on Saturday when we have our first game against the Nashville Predators. But looking at the Western Conference standings, this is how I see it shaping up for this season. For first place, I think it's going to be Chicago. You're going to have San Jose being second. And in third, I'm going to pick the Minnesota Wild. In fourth, I'm going to pick the LA Kings. Fifth will be the St. Louis Blues. Sixth place will go to the Colorado Avalanche. Seventh will be the Vancouver Canucks. I think Vancouver will have... No, actually, I'll strike that. I'm going to pick Phoenix, because Phoenix has always been in that hunt. So it's going to be Phoenix. And in eighth place, I think the Columbus Blue Jackets will do some damage this year. I think the Red Wings will be ninth. I don't think they're going to make that big push of the playoff run. I really don't think that's really going to happen. 10th, I see Dallas. 11th, I see Calgary. 12th, I see Edmonton. 13th, I see Nashville. 14th, I see, I want to say, Anaheim. And then 15th, finish out the division this year. I think it's going to be a tie for last place. I think it's either going to be... it's going to be a tough choice to choose. I think it's either going to be Calgary or the famous choke job of the Vancouver Canucks. Sorry, guys. That's how I see it. So, in order, I have the Blackhawks, Sharks, Wild. I have the Kings, the Blues, Colorado, Phoenix, Columbus. Your top 8 for the playoffs this year. Well, this is the NHL preview show, and I hope you enjoyed it. Check back with us as we'll have more and more coverage of the NHL for you this season on All Andy Alfred. We'll be bringing you more live coverage from Nationwide, from BG, from here at Studio 61, which is now being transformed into Studio 16, the Derek Brassard suite, as you have been watching All Andy Alfred right here on Clay Fan 2, 3. Go Jackets!